There's a subject I've been dancing around a bit for a while, which is approbable circles, or approbative circles, specifically hyperaprobative circles, or I should call them hyperaprobative loops. An approbative loop is basically the fundamental part of evolution, or a motor. A motor, for instance, if you know how a motor works, it's something that spins around a circle and it gets hit, gets hit, gets hit. This would be approving it. It's an approbative loop. Um, a species procreates an idea, conception, uh, Jews are evil, you know, and there you go, Nazis, hyperapprobative circle, or, maybe a species for some reason thinks that, like, lemmings are constantly made fun of, we should follow each other no matter what, and it, for whatever reason, mostly because it just doesn't fail, it keeps going. But it's hyperapprobative. It's not well thought out approval. Um, the biggest example of hyperapprobative circles that everyone knows about is cancer. Cancer is something where the cell keeps recreating. And right here, this point right here, where it hits, it's supposed to be checked. It's supposed to be double checked and be like, all right, is everything's in order, all your DNA matches, this is correct? It's hyperapprobative. It just, for whatever reason, continues going. And that's, a big, big part of where bad things come in. Cancer, basically, which, in my eyes, most of humanity is. It's super hyper-approbative of itself. It creates cancerous loops where it grows without stopping, without questioning whether or not it deserves to procreate, whether or not it should procreate, like most people, most situations will, or like groups of friends will not. They won't be hard on each other. They'll be supportive of each other, even if it's creating too much of something that isn't really that evolutionary. And I'll do another video on what I see as evolutionary, or where I see the kinks in evolution to be. But this is one of the most common forms. The second part is, I'm going to call it infraprobative, or something like that. As in, while one of them is too much, the other is too little. So, like, you got a circle going and you hit it and it tapers out. That would be situations where something which really deserves approval, really good ideas, really kind people, really just evolutionarily advantageous things are overlooked. And this is, I don't want to bring it into this conversation, but it's the first thing I thought of. The nice guy paradigm, for instance, there are infraprobative loops there. Like, it's not really that beneficial to be a nice guy. But then, people get, what is a nice guy? So scratch that one. Just throw that one out, please. I don't want to be in this whole argument on that. I don't know. There's plenty of ideas out there, plenty of types of people that are blatantly underappreciated, and that is not good. In fact, the most correct thing to do is appreciate things to the degree to which they need to be appreciated. And what needs to be appreciated generally is whatever anyone makes an effort to do. So anywhere people are putting energy is a place where you need to either be more approving or less approving for the sake of saying that's a good or a bad place to put energy. To a degree. You always have to be somewhat approving, though, or else it's, like if someone really wants to do something, you can't disapprove of that and expect them to not want to do it. The best you can do is be less approving of that and more approving of something else, in the hopes that it drives them to sort of change their direction. So that's, approbative loops. There's more than one on every level. People need to be approved intellectually, but if you're over-approved intellectually, everyone says you're smart all the time, you probably will end up either having your ego overinflated or being kind of dumb because you stop early. And if you're under-approved, you might give up on it, or you'll put less energy into it than you potentially could be if you felt you were getting, what you put in out. Or, any number of things. Basically, you kind of just die off if you're underappreciated, underapproved. I mean, that's, if you want to look at it in terms of evolution, the ones who aren't chosen, they die off. They're retardations, regardless of whether or not they're retarded. They're within, I shouldn't say retardations, but within the eye of the species, within the collective conscious, whatever, the filter, basically, that is who gets chosen for the next generation and not. If you are someone who is underappreciated, or essentially not in that loop, you're not hitting the approval point, reproduction in particular, then you are, therefore, you're not part of the future of the species. That's how it works. That's, betas, basically. In any species ever on Earth, like, the alphas are the ones who make it to the next generation most, and the betas are the ones who make it least. That's pretty much the definition. I mean, you could say alpha and beta are based off other things, or like, who cares if you don't have a much chance of procreating. If you're really intelligent, that counts for a lot. But in the grand scheme of things, within 1,000 years, a complete idiot who has kids will have more of an effect on the future, probably, than a really intelligent person who doesn't, because their kids will have kids who will have kids, and maybe one of them, or maybe all of them combined, will have more of an effect than your single isolated being. It's really likely, because 1,000 years is a long time, and all the kids and their kids will have an effect, most likely greater than yours. It's really unfortunate, because it means that, I mean, the wrong approval in the wrong place, just a little bit, can make a huge difference. And I've talked about morality being there for people when they need you. It's basically helping people feel approved, or approving of people in the way they need to be approved, if they need it. So, oh yeah, nice. So, yeah, I mean, like, 1 second while it goes by. Basically, just where and how you approve of people. You can't tell a person, I think you're smart, and expect them to feel strong as well. Like, you have to, and they can't not be strong and have you tell them that they're strong and, really be doing the right thing. If a person aspires to be strong, they have to work out and all of that. And if a person aspires to be intelligent, they have to, work at it. And basically, whatever it is that people aspire to and work at, they want some approval that what they're doing is working. And if they get none at all, then they're left with this aspiration of theirs, a dream that is unfulfillable, to the degree to which people do not confirm to them that they're actually fulfilling it. Specifically, within human relationships, popularity is a very common one that you can't be like. I mean, like, with intelligence, you can be like, no, I am smart, regardless of whether or not people consider me smart or treat me like I'm smart. Popularity, it's all about whether or not people consider you popular, or tell you you're popular, or show you you're popular. And this is where human interactions, and the whole point of pretty much all of these little video blogs, is to discuss human interactions and how they can be improved. This is where it really gets difficult, is that you don't have to do anything. I can't tell you what to do, but if humanity wants to have something that functions well, we're going to have to be approving in the correct ways of the correct people. Whatever way it is that they say they need to be approved of, if they really work towards it, in the very least, they could have some means of working towards it. Me personally, I want to have intimate relationships with people. I want to be close to people, and I work towards it, but that's not enough. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who really feels a lack of intimacy in their life, and who's working really hard for it, but is not getting it at all. There's only one way to approve, to show that I'm working correctly towards it, and that's for me to have it. Similarly, if there's something you're working really hard towards, there's only one way for you to be proven that you're getting it. Like, maybe you want a lot of money, you want to be a CEO or something. Well, you need to get a raise, or else that it's not happening. So yeah, hyperprobative loops, or loops in which people are too approving of something, um, consistently it'll result in people who are just way, way too happy. I mean, because being approved of is the most, like, it's really nice to be like, yes, you are a good, amazing person. Like, your existence is a good thing. That's a nice feeling. And sometimes people, really, their existence isn't that good of a thing, and they hurt a lot of people, and they do a lot of dumb stuff, and waste a lot of people's time and energy and stuff. But they're really, popular people, really rich girls. I think of, like the Sweet 16 things. They seem like the kind of people who are really, really over approved of. But really, they're just hurting people and wasting people's time and kind of annoying a lot of other people, and making people like me, or at least myself, kind of jealous, because I look at them and I'm like, wow, that seems like a significantly more approved of lifestyle than my own. Under approving is, geeky kids usually. Even if they're smart, even if they're nice, even if they're intelligent or witty or funny, even if they are wonderfully intimate once you get to know them, if they're beautiful, if they're creating amazing things for the future of mankind. I mean, even if all those things, a lot of these kids are just unapproved of because they're geeky, whatever it is that means, whatever it means to be unpopular, and that. And I suppose they're unacquainted, essentially, with the whole sexy thing. Makes sense. I mean, if they're never allowed in, they never learn their way around, they'll never be really that good. But I mean, at some point, you're going to have to teach a rookie how to play, or else no one learns how to play. Or maybe not. Maybe I have no concept of what happiness is, and really happiness is exactly what everyone else seems to think it is, and has nothing to do with, liberating your mind, or being loved and loving others, or, aspiring to great and wonderful dreams collectively. Maybe it's all just about being popular, because it really does, in the end, seem to be more fulfilling than anything I've found alone. Maybe it's really just that one or the other, they both suck, and that's my personal opinion. You could be alone and have a beautiful mind, or you could be kind of an ugly mind but have tons of people around you, and they're both probably equally unfulfilling. This kind of went off on a tangent, so I'm sorry about that, but point is, popular kids are usually overly approved of, unpopular kids are usually underapproved of. Really, anyone who's working hard at something probably deserves at least some amount of approval in it, some amount of validation that their work and their effort is worth something, or else they won't continue to work on that. And if they still continue, then apparently it's really important, and they probably just deserve to be approved of, because it's not working to tell them not to work on that. I guess I should just throw this note in. If anyone really feels they need something, then they do. Even if it's just to be proven wrong. If someone cannot help but feel they need something, then even if it's just for the sake of them being proven wrong, they still need to get it. That's unfortunately part of life. So if someone needs something awful, they still need it. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, say someone wants to kill someone really badly. Well, if they just can't stop thinking about it, then I guess they kind of need that. Just to know that they're wrong, I hope. Or maybe they're not, maybe they're right. Those are scary thoughts. Those are scary, scary thoughts. It's hard to tell. Personally, I think that human nature could be solved